Hello lovely viewers, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful News official YouTube channel. Dr. Grace Buckingham, played by the gifted Cassandra Creech, has been working under a web of deceit that is now being exposed, according to spoilers for the Bold and the Beautiful. One of the most diabolical plot twists in recent Bold and Beautiful history is the horrifying discovery that Grace has been fabricating medical documents, including the diagnosis of Liam Spencer's brain tumor. This goes beyond simple medical malfeasance. This well-thought-out plan has endangered lives and betrayed the confidence of many patients and their families. Fans and other characters have been pointing out discrepancies in Grace's behavior and treatment methods for weeks, which has led to the accumulation of evidence against her. Her frantic efforts to promote new therapies, her enigmatic phone conversations, and her odd financial dealings have all added to the increasing impression that something really amiss is taking place behind the scenes. One of the most important pieces of evidence revealing her fraudulent activity is the $1 million she was paid for Liam's experimental operation. The extent of Grace's deceit is what makes this plot so heartbreaking. The most recent information indicates that Grace's manipulation of medical documents goes much beyond Liam's case. Over her career, she has been methodically altering patient records, making erroneous diagnoses, and maybe putting many lives in jeopardy. This pattern of illegal activity implies that Grace's acts were a part of a bigger, more nefarious scheme that has been going on for years rather than being isolated episodes. The victim of medical fraud is Liam Spencer. The most tragic part of Grace's illegal business is how it has impacted Scott Clifton's character, Liam Spencer. Liam has been dealing with the fallout from what he thought was a deadly brain tumor diagnosis for months. It is impossible to overestimate the emotional toll that this has had on him, his kids, and his loved ones. He has been getting ready to die, planning for his girls, and attempting to preserve every minute of what he believed to be his finite amount of time left. The doctor-patient relationship has been severely betrayed by the disclosure that Grace may have falsified or altered his medical records. Grace may have used Liam and his affluent father, Bill Spencer, for financial advantage by using the confidence Liam placed in her with his life. The character will surely suffer from long-lasting trauma and have plenty of fodder for future tales as a result of the psychological harm caused by discovering that his death sentence may have been a fake. It seems that Grace's manipulation of Liam's case was especially well planned. She presented herself as his main doctor, demanded strict treatment plans, and even carried out experimental surgery for which she was paid a hefty sum. The extent of her illegal activity and the complexity of her plots are shown by the fact that she was able to keep up this deceit while Liam was going through mental and bodily pain. The link to the criminal history of Ree Buckingham. The possible link between Grace's illegal actions and her ex-husband, Wayne Brady's character Dr. Rhea Buckingham, is among the most fascinating elements of the case. The Buckingham family has a history of medical fraud thanks to Rhea, who earlier created chaos by taking Hope and Liam's daughter Beth and selling her in a phony adoption plan. This link raises the possibility that Grace picked up her illegal methods from Rhea, or that they were working together on a number of projects throughout their relationship. There are clear parallels between Rhea's prior crimes and Grace's present medical deception. In both cases, medical circumstances are manipulated for financial benefit. Both show a heartless disdain for the psychological and physical health of their victims and prey on weak families at their most vulnerable times. Many people have theorized that Rhea could be manipulating things behind the scenes since Grace has been getting strange phone calls and seems to be under pressure from unidentified sources. This possible link gives the plot an additional level of intricacy and sheds light on Grace's intentions. Her increasingly erratic behavior and her seeming urgency to finish Liam's experimental operation might be explained if she has been forced or persuaded by Rhea. But also begs the issue of whether Grace is really a victim or a complicit party to these crimes. The $1 million operation was a well-planned fraud. The pinnacle of Grace's deceptive ruse was the experimental operation she performed on Liam. Grace obtained a $1 million payment from Bill Spencer by persuading him that his kid required costly experimental therapy that was not possible in a conventional hospital. Careful preparation was needed for this complex setup, which included setting up a private surgical facility and hiring a purported expert. When Grace was seen glancing at her phone with evident sorrow after paying the $1 million payment, it became clear that this operation was questionable. Even while Grace is still doing the same crimes, this apparent moment of remorse raises the possibility that she is somewhat conscious of their seriousness. The idea that the whole procedure was bogus is further supported by the fact that she carried out the surgery herself rather than delegating the task to the purported professional. There are now further concerns about the procedure's validity because of how quickly the operation was finished and how quickly Liam recovered. For an inoperable tumor, actual experimental brain surgery would normally need a long recovery time, several experts, and intensive planning. Grace may have created shallow incisions to provide the illusion of surgery without really carrying out any significant medical intervention, as shown by her speedy and seemingly successful completion of the treatment. The effect on the Spencer family and Bill Spencer. In this plot, Bill Spencer has played a sad but instructive role. In his haste to rescue his kid, he made choices that he may have given more careful thought to in a more normal situation. Grace was able to take advantage of the love and desperation of her parents for her personal benefit, as seen by his willingness to spend $1 million on experimental surgery without consulting other experts or doing enough research. Bill's connections with other family members have been severely strained as a result of this circumstance. The revelation that Grace could have been scamming them all will probably lead to further tension and strife, since Hope Logan and Steffi Forrester have both held Bill responsible for different parts of Liam's predicament. Bill is even more susceptible to Grace's manipulation because of his remorse about his part in introducing Luna Natsuwa into their life, which resulted in Liam's shooting. Given their riches, the Spencer family is obviously a desirable target for Grace's plots. She may have been preparing this specific scam for some time, waiting for the ideal moment to carry it out, given how swiftly she was able to take such a substantial amount of money. Her deliberate targeting of affluent families shows how planned out her crimes were, and it raises the possibility that there are further unreported victims. Cassandra Creech's exit and goodbye on social media. A major turning point for the actress and the program is the news that Cassandra Creech would be departing the bold and the beautiful. Grace Buckingham has been given depth and complexity by Creech, who has produced a heroine who is both likable and evil. Grace's illegal actions have been rendered even more surprising by her depiction, which has maintained the character's credibility as a capable doctor and loving mother while exposing her darker side. Fans of Creature who have followed her journey on the program will surely find her social media goodbye to be heartbreaking. She has performed to such a high standard that she was nominated for a Daytime Emmy for her performance. Her departure at a time when Grace's illegal actions are being revealed implies that, at least for the time being, the character narrative arc has come to a logical end. The fact that Creature's departure falls precisely at the same moment as Grace's misdeeds are revealed suggests that the show's creators intentionally planned this exit as part of the overarching plot rather than in reaction to outside influences. This meticulous preparation should guarantee that Grace's exit seems natural to the narrative and offers appropriate resolution for the character's criminal arc while allowing for possible comebacks in the future. The jail plot and the legal ramifications. There will undoubtedly be severe legal repercussions once it is discovered that Grace has been scamming patients and fabricating medical documents. As a federal offense, medical fraud has severe consequences, including as long jail terms and the permanent revocation of medical licenses. Grace will probably face several charges and a lengthy jail term because to the extent of her offenses, which included numerous patients and major financial fraud. The idea of Grace being imprisoned creates a lot of opportunities for the brave and the beautiful to share stories. Throughout history, prison plots have been dramatic and emotionally intense, offering chances for character growth, redemption stories, and the debut of fresh characters and conflicts. The program will also be able to examine the long-term effects of Grace's conduct on the victims and their family while her incarceration. The plot is made more intriguing by the possibility that Grace may one day be freed from jail and go back to Los Angeles. Her possible return may lead to fresh disputes, revive old scars, and provide chances for tales of retribution or atonement. Even after completing her term, the knowledge that she is capable of causing such destruction will make her a powerful adversary. The wider effects on the medical community in Los Angeles. Grace's illegal actions will have a significant impact on the Los Angeles medical community. There will probably be more scrutiny of medical personnel in the city as a result of the discovery that a reputable doctor has been routinely fabricating medical documents. Patients may become increasingly dubious about medical diagnoses and treatment suggestions, and hospitals and clinics may put in place stronger supervision procedures. The other medical professionals on the program, such as Lee Finnegan, John Finnegan, and Bridget Forrester, will probably be questioned about how they were unable to see Grace's dishonest behavior. Future plotlines and character development might be influenced by the professional disputes and strained relationships that could result from this scrutiny inside the medical community. It is impossible to exaggerate the effect on patient trust. Future episodes might examine the persistent emotional and psychological difficulties that result from the families who have been impacted by Grace's crime's inability to trust medical experts. One of the most severe repercussions of Grace's behavior is this betrayal of trust, which will have a long-term impact on the characters and plots of the program. The process of inquiry and discovery. The show's writers have meticulously planned the investigation into Grace's crimes to optimize dramatic effect. A gripping plot that has kept viewers interested and concerned in the resolution has been developed by the slow disclosure of information, the increasing suspicion of other characters, and the increasing strain on Grace. The fact that some characters have started to doubt Grace's behavior implies that the truth will come to light as a result of both Grace's own errors and more research. Especially intriguing has been the role technology has played in bringing Grace's misdeeds to light. Her enigmatic digital interactions, bank transactions, and phone conversations have all yielded hints that have assisted in the dismantling of her scams. The show's ability to adapt to current narrative approaches while preserving the beloved old soap opera components is shown in this contemporary approach to criminal investigation. One of the most captivating elements of this plot has been the individual's emotional reactions to the process of discovery. There have been strong dramatic moments that highlight the cast's abilities as Liam, Bill, and other people eventually come to understand the full scope of Grace's deceit. Opportunities for relationship development, character development, and examination of concepts like forgiveness, betrayal, and trust have all been made possible by these discoveries. Potential future plot points and character growth. There will be plenty of chances for character and narrative growth in the future as a result of the closure of Grace's criminal plotline. Exploring themes of resiliency, thankfulness, and the worth of life will be made easier by Liam's rehabilitation from a psychological trauma of thinking he was dying. This encounter will have an impact on, and probably lead to severe changes in his relationships with his daughters, Hope, Steffi, and Bill. Bill will probably undergo a great deal of character growth and introspection as a result of his involvement in facilitating Grace's crimes via his money and desperation. Bill's inability to shield his son from this deceit may further erode his connection with Liam, or it may be reinforced by their common experience of being victimized by Grace. Dramatic content will be intriguing as it explores parental guilt and the extent parents will go to in order to protect their children. Exciting opportunities for future tales are created by the possibility that Grace may eventually return to Los Angeles. She might be a strong opponent in future stories because of her familiarity with the medical field, her relationships with other characters, and her shown capacity for situational manipulation. The possibility that she may rekindle LA raises the possibility that her illegal actions may have altered the show's terrain in a way that would cause tension and drama long after she first left. The topic that is now taking over every daring and elegant discussion forum on the internet will be covered next. We're going to get further into the phenomena that is Steffi Forrester and this very astounding pattern that is everyone discussing, debating, and picking sides like never before. The internet is going crazy about the mystery of the bullet magnet. We need to analyze this amazing scenario that has the whole soap opera industry in a state of pure disarray, so hold on to your expensive purses. Imagine this catastrophic situation. Not just one, but DW entirely separate men have put themselves in imminent danger of dying by putting themselves in the way of lethal gunshots meant for Steffi Forrester, the daughter of Ridge and Taylor. First, during that horrific encounter back in 2022, we saw her loyal husband, Dr. John Finnegan, take a possibly lethal gunshot wound from his very insane biological mother, Sheila Carter. Viewers watched in terror as this truly wonderful guy almost died defending the lady he loves with all of his might, leaving them completely astonished by the whole episode. We are now living through the most spectacular reenactment of history in a completely unparalleled turn of events. Yes, Liam Spencer, who has been snooping around with women for more than 10 years, has just turned into a human shield against Luna, Noah's lethal weapon. The guy who was unable to choose between Steffi and Hope for Your Suddenly had no reluctance to step in front of a bullet intended for his ex-wife. The issue that is truly splitting the fan base and sparking contentious discussions on social media in every nook and cranny. Is Steffi Forrester really so wonderful that she has some enchanted quality that makes her so devoted? Or is she just a walking magnet for perilous circumstances who is really fortunate to be surrounded by brave men? The famous Steffi argument. Anarchy maker or beloved queen? Let me explain. Longtime fans are becoming more divided than ever as a result of the fervent views that are bursting in the internet forums. Even the most ardent of Steffi's detractors are facing off against her most vociferous fans in what might be considered virtual battlegrounds in the comment sections. In contrast, the plot of a dramatic soap opera seems mild. Some loyal followers are nearly worshipping Steffi as the ideal leading woman, deserving of all the love and protection she gets. Facts. The Queen Steffi is adored by them. With many crown emojis, a particularly fervent devotee declared. In all honesty, it's easy to see why people are supporting her with such ferocity when you look at her stellar career and present circumstances. Think about the evidence. She is the CEO of the renowned fashion company Forrester Creations, and she has done amazing business at Cumin that would make any lady proud. She manages to balance being a mother to Hayes and Kelly while managing a multimillion-dollar business. She is married to a successful, stunning doctor who has never shown the smallest desire in leaving their marriage, and who worships the earth she walks on. But wait just a minute. Because even the thickest-skinned person would recoil at the utterly barbaric remarks that the opposition unleashed. The majority of women wouldn't have been as foolish as Steffi. One extremely scathing reviewer retaliated mercilessly. What may have been the most vicious takedown of all was given by another fan. Hope would have received the same treatment from Liam. Kelly and Beth. The trashy bully Steffi, MO, isn't really noteworthy. Something intriguing about how divisive Steffi's persona has become is shown by the intensity of these responses. She is both adored and hated, often by those who witness the same situations but have quite different perspectives on them. The risky trend. Why is it that everyone wants to get rid of Steffi? At this point, the study becomes really intriguing and exposes some potentially unsettling facts about our starring woman. A number of followers have begun to draw attention to an unsettling trend that is becoming harder to ignore and is really casting doubt on Steffi's capacity for making decisions. This lady has made it her practice to engage in combat with people who are really dangerous, often intensifying situations that might be settled with more tactful methods. Do you recall the time she really threatened Luna? No, the total madman with the lethal weapon already in his hand. Steffi opted for conflict over de-escalation or a peaceful resolution. What may be the most incisive appraisal to date was written by a very perceptive and brutally honest fan. Sheila, Luna, and other villains are able to despise Steffi considerably more than they would a regular individual. Steffi is violent herself. She attacks others until they attack her in kind, or at least she runs about hitting them. This comment highlights an important point that many viewers have been considering, but may not have expressed as well. Steffi doesn't simply happen to be in perilous circumstances. She deliberately agitates those who are already unstable. Bears that are already snarling and flashing their fangs are essentially being prodded. When confronted with an armed, mentally ill person, any sane person would likely attempt to use diplomacy. Let's have a calm conversation about this. What are you in need of? How can this be settled amicably? Not our Steffi, however. She went into full conflict mode because at her heart, it is just who she is. Hostility is met with even greater hostility by this person. The terrible irony is that Liam took a gunshot to the chest that was intended for her, paying the ultimate price for her combative behavior. It begs the uncomfortable issue of whether her method of resolving disputes is needlessly endangering innocent people. The nuanced reality of Steffi's personality. Now, before the ardent Steffi fans begin plotting my murder, let's admit some very admirable aspects of her personality that even her most scathing detractors would find hard to dispute. Since Liam took that gunshot, this lady has taken great care of him, shielding him and demonstrating genuine concern and appreciation for his sacrifice. After the whole corporate coup debacle, she showed maturity by deciding to rehire Hope, separating business from personal sentiments. She exhibits no bitterness or jealousy towards Hope's romantic relationships and is really content and happy in her marriage to Finn. The difference in their lifestyles is really quite noticeable when you compare them side by side. Steffi has a loving spouse who has never showed interest in infidelity, a fashion business that routinely makes money, a beautiful cliff home with views of the ocean, and a CEO job at a prominent firm. Hope, meanwhile, is unable of sustaining committed love relationships, is presently residing at Carter's house, and her design brand has had more ups and downs than a Six Flags roller coaster. The musical chairs in real estate that no one is discussing. Speaking of living arrangements, may we also discuss the very strange housing scenario that has emerged among these purportedly affluent people? For a bunch of individuals who are supposedly quite affluent, one perceptive fan pointed out something that had viewers laughing uncontrollably. It seems that no one really owns their own property. At the moment, Hope and Beth are staying at Carter's home as extended house guests. It's likely that Liam will return to live with his father, Bill, thereby becoming a middle-aged man and returning to his father's home. Like college students sleeping at a friend's flat, Rage and Taylor are essentially camping out on Eric and Donna's couch. Even the well-known Cliff Mansion that everyone connects with Steffi was formerly owned by someone else. The whole event demonstrates how erratic and ever-changing these people's lives are. And let's take a minute to be really honest about that Cliff Mansion. In essence, it's a death trap for young kids. It's small, surrounded by hazardous drop-offs, and situated on a real cliff with little safety precautions. Fun's portrayal of the worry was spot on. One day, I saw Ase or Kelly falling. Perhaps there is more significant risk in Steffi's ostensibly ideal existence than being fired at. The final decision. Is she a queen or a magnet for chaos? You cannot refute one certain fact after examining every aspect of this utterly captivating phenomena, regardless of whether you think Steffi is a problem magnet with extraordinary luck or someone worth dying for. Being the center of attention in the most spectacular manner is a skill that this lady has perfected. Both guys, who were 3 years apart, were prepared to accept possibly lethal shots for her. Either it's the ultimate testament to her endearing nature and intrinsic value, or it's strong evidence that she should really avoid arguing with armed psychopaths who have nothing left to lose. You may be surprised by my contentious heated take, however. Perhaps this whole thing has nothing to do with Steffi. Perhaps despite their love pasts and personal passions, Finn and Liam are just good, brave guys who would naturally defend a New York lady in grave peril. Why Steffi continues getting into these potentially fatal circumstances is the true question that has to be given careful thought. Does she really have the courage to stand up for what's right at any cost to herself? Is she capable of accurately assessing risk and dangerously reckless? Or might she be a complex blend of the two traits? There's one thing that is certain. It seems to be really harmful to your health and well-being to be adored by Steffi Forrester. Ask the 2 bullet-wounded men who can attest to the perils of having an excessive amount of affection for this specific lady. How do you feel about this amazing pattern? Is Steffi the queen who innately engenders protection and devotion? Or is she just fortunate to have her own heroic men when her combative tongue writes checks that her body is unable to pay? This contentious discussion is far from ended, so please share your thoughts in the comments section.